G'day, it's weekly waffle time. We're in a good mood. Well, I am anyway. I'm not sure if the other bloke is. I'm Racetrack Ralphy. He's the man who would be known as the voice of reason. We're Jared Waitley. Just cut his lunch a little bit, but Danny Power. Are you in a good mood?
Yeah, but what's it?
Well, I've actually got no collar on either my jumper or my shirt, so it sort of looks like when you've got a fat head and no neck.
Very Melbourne Demons.
Very good. Oh, yes. Mark Neal would give him 15 years. We tackled. We didn't have any tackle. I don't know how I tackle attempts.
I don't want to get straight into the Demons, but I will. What did Kevin Sheedy said that a club would give up a year's worth of trades, a year's worth of draft picks just to get Nat Nui.
Yeah.
Melbourne gave up 5 years of misery just not to take him.
Jack Watts would have kicked that goal. Jack Watts would have.
Yeah, but would he have taken the mark?
Would David Roden have kicked it?
No.
Poor David Roden. He's one of the great success stories in kid from Broady, played 10 years of footy, 3 knee recos, and unfortunately, he's just doing his best. He's now stamped with the inadequacies of the Melbourne Footy Club.
Yeah, poor old David. But he wouldn't have got the goal because Nat Nuri wouldn't have dropped the mark for David Roden to pick it up.
to miss the crumb.
Miss the crumb.
Anyway, part one, we look back at Flemington. And we're happy. 5 winning meetings in a row. And to be honest, I'd prefer not to give out any tips, but that's what the market wants. So I just want to give out the information for what I do during the week. But in the end, I'm having a good run, Dan.
No, it's a good run. Oh, you're doing well. And we've introduced a new segment starting last week with Ben
Perkins
from Brisbane.
Yep.
They say he's as mad as a hatter, but a very good judge.
Some may say that. Some may say that. But he's got he knows his stuff, as evidenced by finding Beltone at big odds, Platinum Kingdom at big odds, with the Cornell with Boban, which was $50 Cornell in his best bet one. So you can see all that for free on the app under the $17th. Don't ask why it was under a weird date, but Doomben is free, and now you're going to start paying for Ben stuff. If you want Ben stuff, Free Society. Yep.
I recommended it. I read it all, and he seems to know his stuff.
And one thing just before we talk about Flemington, I've introduced on a Friday. All my stuff's up on a Thursday. Friday at lunchtime, I send out where I think the market may have it wrong on a few overs, particularly if you're playing the exchanges and you're trying to get
for the bet early people.
For the bet early people, and we're seeing the odds well. Fortunately, seeing the results well as well, but the odds. Often you can see where the market's going to go if you're doing the work properly. So hopefully that service is helping you. Race 1 on Saturday. I think there's a 2-year-old race of pretty good depth. The first 3 cleared out from the rest.
Pretty good.
Off-season depth.
A lot of early money for Miss Steele, which caused a bit of angst on Twitter because she hadn't trialled. But
they sent it out on YouTube.
Yeah, they gave it out on YouTube.
So, of course, if you send out a YouTube thing, that makes it okay, even though you don't know if she's beating hurdlers or champions.
Or carrying 55 stone.
Which is the idea of saying official trials.
Yeah.
Unofficial trials mean jack shit.
Yeah.
But thanks anyway.
Thanks anyway.
It's a good horse.
Yeah, she was fine. The winner's good. She at a first start, she blew the start, came from nowhere, whooshed home.
Menage a charge.
Menage a charge.
Yep.
This time she led, over raced and held on.
Yep.
Only little. That worries me a bit. As you know, as a 3-year-old, she's probably going to have to carry a bit of weight, but there's a few more wins in there. She's quite smart. I like to see her ridden back rather than on pace. That's my personal opinion. Calcutta was okay.
And Calcutta's fairly well exposed, so we know that she's borderline stage class, so that means you can trust the first and third. And as an overview, we had races with fast tempo on them. It was fantastic most of the day, so it was set up. The second race, now this was a very high pressure race. The second race, won by Desert Wizard, and I risked it a little bit. Actually got the price right at $8.50, but it's a low percentage play. Back him off maiden wins coming to town.
Yeah, no, I think it is. I think you were right to risk it. I would have risked it, and it was very impressive. A lot of people listen to the Sunday show and they're talking Spring and Star.
Cox plate.
Wait on. Like he's an immature horse that's showing a bit of promise. Yeah. He's a year away. Wait for 2014. If even the trainer said, "Look, he's a serious horse. He's never been beaten a jump."
Hoping he's a serious horse.
No, he knows. He knows he's got a good horse. He said, "Look, I've got a good horse." But he sort of almost choked on his Wheaties when Matt Stewart said, Spring? No.
Medvedev genuinely unlucky. But this was, and again, high pressure. This was your classic Vincecardi elastic band race. You needed to be within that sort of 4 to 6 length zone.
Well, Top Carby didn't get into it early.
Yeah.
And he kept making ground at the end, but he was entitled to. I think he's an interesting horse. I'm not sure. I think when he strengthens up, he's probably going to be a pretty nice horse.
But as we saw from that arousing suspicion race a few weeks ago, when 3-year-olds are exposed to a high pressure race, often the form doesn't hold up because it might gut them a bit.
Yeah.
Underestimation, gave weight to the rest of the opposition and was on that high pressure. So it's still going to win in an underestimation.
Yeah.
Third race, Vain Queen.
Vain Queen.
She's smart, but she's going out, and I think that's a good move.
I was listening to Johnny Sadler in the morning of the race. He was concerned about the 1200, and she ran the 1200 quite well. Very smart filly. Another one by that really good sire, underrated sire, Artie Schiller, and she ranks along with Lady Melksham, I believe, in the stable. So she's worth following. He's obviously tipping her out with something later in the spring around the Melbourne Cup Carnival.
Both moods went well, El Celador
Yep.
and La Rossa, and Perfect Offering,
Perfect
who was
Offering.
fifth. It's fine. Now, but just an overview here. If you heard Tommy Sadler after the race, he said to whoever interviewed him on TVN, look, on the way to the barriers, I thought she's over revving. She wanted to put me through the fence. It's not like her. Big sign she's had enough for the prep.
Yeah.
In other words, if you're a punter, you don't want to know that shit. Go back to the more joyous thing, what we've been saying. Just treat the form guide as it is. You don't want to know stuff like that. Like, it's up to the trainer and jockey to present it.
So what if we were allowed to interview the jockeys as they get to the barrier? Oh, don't be on this.
Yeah, I think it's cast.
Let's go on.
Yeah.
I know Sadler thinks Perfect Offering will be better over a bit of ground.
Fourth race was Whisper Downs. I was like Sylvester the Putty Cat's son with the paper bag over my head for risk it.
Yeah.
The dynamics here. Ladari just got over racing early after just being a little bit slowly away.
It's the second or third time he's got on the bit. And
I've got his next race, Dan.
What's that?
The Anaja Classic.
Are you going to put him in that?
He's one run away from getting straight.
He's only been here for about 3 months.
Well, we'll get to it, but there's room now because Mr. Milton's out of that. He raced himself out of the Anaja Classic. But he's just can't see. That's probably his best win, Whisper Downs.
Wonderful horse. Apparently I wasn't there, looked magnificent in the parade, ran up to it. Testament to David Hayes' new property. We've all talked about it. He's back on deck, and he's got his property going well. And this horse, and he's staying later in the program and show my heart, indicative of what he can do from that property. He's a good horse. I said Domsky's been retired, which would have there's another place out of the Anaja one.
But Secessio, good mid-race sectionals, was just too far back. Verdant, now my theory always on a bad run, it's such low percentage play for giving them, but when they show they're back on track, that horse is back on track.
Follow on.
Verdant's going to win next start for sure.
What do you think they'll do with Ladari? Maybe dropping back over a mile with a bit of pace on or something?
I believe they're pulling the pin but that's what I'd be doing.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, the way he's over racing, and his mile run was so good. Streets away, God bless him, got myself back on track. This was a mad, high pressure race, as evidenced by the first 6 home, maybe 7. In fact, first 7 home are all better over a mile plus. Now that really happens at 1400 races at Flemington.
No. It was a good race. It was a strong race, and I think the form will stand up really well. Great to see Hawke's Bay still firing, heading for Darwin.
That's it.
It's a good race. I reckon the form around will be fantastic.
But what you want to see is be aware that this can change drastically because the heavy tracks are going to come. This was a good track on Saturday. Luton Run on that high speed was super.
Yeah, he was.
And it's better on a wet track, so that's the one to look for there. Unchained My Heart, well, the only horses to follow are the ones with jumps in front of them off the Andrew Ramsden, but again, another tick to the Hayes stable, and a big tick to, if you ever wonder if Dwayne Dunn at his best is as good as anyone, that was it there.
Yeah, good ride, good mare.
Mr. Milton down the straight, God bless it, at the big odds. Every now and then you get opportunities where you go, well, I'm going to back the horse with the best form in the race at 10-1, and that was it. It did have the best form in the race.
Look, I don't know Normie Wama's problems before the race. I heard him interviewed later, and he said, how bad the horse's feet have been.
And is that another argument you don't want to know?
You don't want to know.
Just treat
but
the form
obviously,
on time.
the horse has got terrific form. He's Group 1 place getter. This was a classic case of the right horse in the right race.
And beating the nose last start. Now, when you're beating the nose, you're not turning it up. That's just a bob of the head. That's luck by the circles in a fast race and at a big weight drop. That's the one. Yeah, didn't have much luck. Dean Lester made a comment on RSN that maybe this is a horse you don't want to ride with cover anymore since the throw up, and so that added to his bad luck. So look for it to lead next start, and they won't go as fast. And in the last race, Fulgur was super, and you know my elastic band theory, the Vincecardi elastic band theory that I'm grabbing.
I usually put elastic band around my money. You have it used for it.
Correct. He was too far back, and he still won. Now, no fault of Chris Simons, by the way, because he's through the outside. That's how he had to ride it. Super win, Fulgur.
He's going to keep winning. And what do you think of Me Hungry?
Okay, but I thought the form actually held up.
Yeah.
Error set. It's a member of the Pt1. Next start, he'll race himself out of the Pt1 stakes. There you go. Error set's ready. 60 kilos that day, out the back. That was its one to get it back.
And you potted Tigerland on your app?
Potted the hell out of Tigerland, and anyone who does the form and data properly had to, because it's Caulfield run. As we said here on the Weekly Waffle, it had enough. As have we for segment 1.